Everybody. My name is Joanne Burke-Sherman, and I am here with Kristine Biagiotti-Bridges of Dell Technologies. She is the leader of their True Ability Employee Resource Program. In this role, we're going to talk a bit more about what she does and how it helps people with disabilities. So Kristine, can you tell us a little bit about your role at Dell as the True Ability Employee Resource and how you actually help your fellow team members and those impacted by disabilities or special needs?
Well, thank you, Joanne, for having me today. I'm glad to be here. And our True Ability Resource Group does a lot to support not only our employees, but their families and our community partners. And if it's anything related to disabilities, we're involved in it. So benefits to hiring people to accommodations, we support in all of those areas. And anything that any of our employees need, they can reach out to True Ability and we can point them in the right direction.
So you mentioned partners and employees. So what is the difference between the people that you hire for Dell and maybe your partners?
So our community partners would be like human service providers that are in our community. Here in Massachusetts, we have a partnership with HMEA, which is Horace Mann Educational Associates. They help us support our neurodiverse hiring. And at our corporate headquarters in Round Rock, Texas, we work with the ARC of the Capital Region to support our employees there as well.
Oh, wow. So do you have many employees with disabilities?
We have a lot of employees with disabilities. Some disclose, some do not. But we cover the gamut from physical disabilities to neurodiversity, ADHD, mental health, anything in there, hearing loss, vision loss. Those are some of our big areas where people like to have a lot of conversations about, and we do a lot of activities around those.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think Dell is kind of leading the forefront in that area. And I understand that you are also a mom of children with disabilities. So is this what motivated you, or what did motivate you to become involved with the True Ability group?
So back in about, I want to say it was 2009, internally, we had a lot of families come together. And we were talking about raising our children with disabilities. At the time, my daughter was young and had a lot of medical complexity. And so it was really kind of like a grassroots group of people getting together, talking about information, sharing information, how to get support. And it evolved into our True Abilities ERG. And over the years, it has grown. We're a global ERG now, and we have over 8,000 members globally. Here in the US, we have some hubs that are very active. We have Boston, we have Nashville, Tennessee, we have Round Rock, Oklahoma, and California. So a lot of areas where our employees come together and work together. And even if you're not in one of those areas, we do a lot of things virtually. So if, say, you were in Florida and wanted to participate in activities, it's still available to you.
That's amazing. And this all started from a grassroots, probably moms and dads who were in a similar situation to you, right?
Yes, it did. And it helped us kind of lead the charge and talk about, what issues were impacting us. Was it benefits? That's how we came about to having autism benefit. Was families came together and said, hey, we have all these challenges, what can we do? And being able to have some of those conversations with our human resources to talk about, these are our families, this is what we need, can we take this into consideration? And over the years, it's been a great opportunity to help guide and shape not only our benefits, but also our conversations within Dell and talking about our inclusiveness. And it's become part of the Dell culture.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think more companies need to ingratiate all of that and the culture into their own organizations, because it's much needed. We have a lot of work to do, but you know what? You always have to find the positive, and I think you're doing an amazing job doing all this. Now, naturally, your daughter was younger than the employees that you're currently working with. So what were some of the key initiatives that or programs at True Ability to undertake and educate and raise awareness? It must have been a little bit of a project outside of the people who fully understood it, like the moms and dads.
So we did a lot. Brown bag lunches were a great opportunity to share information. If we had groups that would come to us and say, hey, we want to understand a little bit more about, what are our benefits? How do they pertain to us? Or, are there other families that are sharing the same concerns we have? Maybe it was a group that had children that had ADHD, and then they'd want to get together and talk. So it became out of like topics and different things, and it grew from there. And as our kids got a little older, you add into, I would sit and say, okay, well, now I have a stepson. I met him when he was 4. He was just diagnosed with autism. And it really kind of piqued my interest as to where's Kayla and Matthew going to be down the road as young adults, and what are their opportunities. So I started thinking about, well, what are they going to do for employment? And that really kind of led over the years. Matthew's now 19, and he's in that point where he's exploring vocational opportunities, but looking at what we do with high technology, and we can't get enough talent. There's always, we're looking for people, and looking at an untapped talent pool was neurodiversity. So through our True Ability employee resource group, we said, hey, why aren't we hiring in this area? There's a lot of untapped talent there. And 5 years ago, we were able to create the Neurodiversity at Dell program, actually working in that space, looking for talent.
Yeah, so it started off really with benefits for the parents, but as a mom who's in a similar situation, I understand that, and probably all parents in general, we're always projecting into the future and what our kids' future is going to be like. So you've really done a lot to fight for the future of a lot of these kids. So this essentially turned into a work program, right? You're working to hire people at Dell and the neurodiverse community, and that's both within Dell and it's also with your partners. So as I understand it, you might have a landscaper, for example, that you work with, and you encourage them to hire as well.
Yeah, so one of the opportunities that we're really focused on right now is we'd love our vendors to replicate what we do with our hiring practices, and looking at opportunities in, whether it's with our food service or our maintenance or landscaping and manufacturing facility. What opportunities do we have there where we could employ some of these individuals? And that progress is underway. In the past, we've actually had somebody who's been hired on working in our cafeteria, and we're currently looking at our manufacturing facility right now in positions that these individuals can fill.
That's great. And do you feel like the partners have been receptive to doing that? Because you're encouraging them to do that. That wasn't their own initiative, right?
Well, we encourage them, but everybody has been embracing it. We're all seeing that we cannot get enough help. I mean, where do you go every day and you don't see a help wanted sign? I think every place we go, from the supermarket to a restaurant to a bank, there's a help wanted sign everywhere. So why not think outside the box a little bit? How do we modify our interview process and support our employees? And let's look at the talent pool. And we've had a great success over the last 5 years finding talent for our internal Dell jobs. Let's take advantage of all these open opportunities right now and get some great work, people in there that can work in these opportunities.
Yeah, and I think you've already answered this question, because I think it's maybe stating the obvious, but why do you think companies like Dell should have programs like True Ability?
Well, I think really there's some great talent out there. And if we are not getting the right candidates, just in our traditional hiring process, let's think outside the box on that. And I also think too that as we see how successful this is, other companies are jumping on board and saying, hey, what are you guys doing? How can we replicate that? And I really think, for each company, it's based on their culture and what they're looking for. But being inclusive is a cornerstone of our Dell culture. And it's been so successful that people want to participate in this. And we're willing to, hey, this is how we do it. Think about your company and your culture, and this is how, you can get started. And I think it's education, conversation, it leads the charge, and people are jumping on board.
Yeah, I think it's awesome. And I think Dell is way ahead of the curve there too, just because if you've looked into DEI initiatives, I mean, it's fairly new, really. And so I think companies are doing their best to support DEI, but I think the people with disabilities is kind of the last one included in that. So most companies, you're looking at a very, very small percentage when you're talking about DEI, maybe under 5% of those kind of folks being hired. And so I love that they're seeing the benefit and that you're seeing the benefit. And as you know, I'm launching a program called Dharma Dreams Vocational Center. And that's a program that is for adults age 18 to 26 who do have cognitive disabilities and want to learn skills in the trades, such as landscaping, painting, and plastering. So how do you see like a program like this aligning with programs like neurodiversity at Dell?
So I think this is great because, like anything, we want our young adults to be trained and workforce ready when they graduate school. Um, and being able to go through some sort of formal training before they enter the workforce is critical. Um, I certainly love to see, somebody comes in and they can pick up the ball and run with it. It's not having to start at square one, but having that skill set coming out of school or, a vocational program, they're ready to hit the ground running, and they can make an impact on day one.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly on that. And, I always kind of say everyone needs a reason to get up and go every
Yep.
day. And I think this group struggles a lot with their self-esteem and their pride. And I think having that ability to work in the workforce is hugely important. So do you think there's something different, that you see in the personal and professional growth of the folks that either you hire or that we could potentially put out there in the workforce?
I really think it's, having that opportunity to have the skill set instills their self-confidence. And like you said, everybody wants to get up and go to work, but also at the end of the day, they're getting a paycheck, and they're getting, paid for what they're doing, and being that productive member of society. I know for myself, that's what I love. Like, I love to get up and go to work and know that I'm doing something good. And I don't think it matters what job somebody's doing, they're contributing to the end product, whether it's they're painting a house or they're painting an office space. In the end, that's going to be used by somebody, and the pride that you take in doing your work there.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it is hugely important. And I don't even know if I told you this, because as you're talking, of course, my program I consider to be about life purpose. And Dharma is actually a Sanskrit word that means life purpose, because that's exactly what you're talking about. It's having something that's meaningful in our lives. So again, given what you know about Dharma Dreams Vocational Center, or even some of the other programs that maybe you might partner with, is there a way for more groups to work collaboratively together, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. One of the things that we've found over the years is there are a lot of groups out there all working, separately. And initially, when all of our programs started to come together, it was really overwhelming because we were being reached out to by hundreds of different groups and agencies. And so what we've done is, for us, we've chosen a community partner. So here in Massachusetts, we're working with HMEA. And with that, they've had the opportunity to help us source our candidates and work with us on what we need. But there are other candidates that may not fit our culture or our model or the jobs that we have open. They're working with other companies to help support employment there. So, finding that community partner in, wherever location you're at can be, I think, I think it can be critical to making it successful, because now you're working together, you're joining resources, and an agency like HMEA has that picture of, maybe they're working with 10 companies. What are these companies looking for? What type of roles? And being able to help funnel candidates into those opportunities.
Yeah, I think that's fantastic. I think that we do need more and more companies to work together and agencies to work collaboratively together. Because you and I are both on the same team here, meaning that, we want to get all of these kids out there. I say kids, but they're adults out working and feeling good about themselves. But there is a component where we have to do a little education too for the companies and how they communicate and everything else. Is that anything that you do with your program as far as helping? Or maybe the HMEA does that, but is talking to the companies and how to work with their employees just to make sure it's a good experience for everybody.
So I certainly have had the opportunity to work with many big corporations here in Massachusetts to talk about, what we do at Dell, and the things that we have found to be successful in our space. And, I always say to the companies, think about your culture and, how you do things. And, these are some of our best practices, and maybe you can use some of them, maybe you can't, but it's a good starting point. And the other thing, I'd like to mention too is here in Massachusetts, there's a initiative underway right now looking at creating an incubator project, where a lot of these groups will come together, whether they're human service providers, corporations, schools, and vocational programs, and being able to collaborate and maybe make sense of all of this that's going on, and come up with a streamlined effort that could help everybody.
Yeah, I love that. We definitely need more of that out in the community, and I'm happy to be a part of that as well. So again, you and I are on the same page on this, and I'd love to get more people on board. So anyone listening, feel free to reach out to us, because I think there's ways to get more and more people included. So I won't keep you too much longer, but just, is there anything else? I know you believe in sharing with other companies. So is there any one message or piece of advice that you'd offer to other companies that are looking to establish similar programs?
Just do it. I mean, really, it has been, wildly successful for us, getting involved in hiring in the neurodiverse space, but it also creates a better morale in the company, and it also provides those opportunities for us to learn from each other, and start small and then grow. We've been doing this for 5 years now, and we're over 100 candidate employees now. And I think that, it's become this thing that everybody wants to be involved, because they're seeing how successful it is, both internally and externally. So do it. You start with one person, go to 2. Now you're at 10. It will grow itself.
Yeah, I think it's great advice is to just do it, because we are all teachers and we're all learners, and together we can make great things happen. So I totally appreciate everything that you're doing and what you did many, many years ago to establish this, because I think everything that you're doing is going to help so many other companies. So thanks again for being here and sharing the information. And I, wish you and your family the best for sure.
Thank you for having me, and glad to help.
All right, take care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.